Hello, everyone. I'm Nicole White. I'm back with my friend Ruth Sandoval. And Ruth, I'm going to turn it over to you. What are we doing today?
Oh, today I think we talked about doing a reading for you for 2021.
Wonderful.
So, and this would be a high level, talking about how to keep the faith in 2021 as you go into it, the gifts it's going to bring you, and some challenges. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, as normal, I'm going to shuffle. I'd like you to connect with yourself. I'll connect. Give it a couple minutes and you tell me when to stop shuffling.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you this time, should I cut them high, middle, or low?
Hi.
Okay. All right. So, how you're going to keep the faith? Oh my gosh. Um, how you need to keep the faith is you need to stay connected to your joy
Hmm.
because that is what's going to pull you through. But, Nicole, you're going to be surprised about this. Um, it's the love card. So, that looks like it's going to be a gift in 2021. I don't know what it will look like. Um, you will experience love, and we'll see how that looks. But that's, I'm getting the chills again, just like I did for the celebration card in the last reading. So that is going to be your gift of this coming year.
Hmm.
The challenge this coming year is going to be service. You're going to find yourself in service of a lot of people, and what I'm thinking of is also a lot of projects for you. So you're going to be feel like you're in service to those projects. And when you're in it, there may be times when you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, when am I going to get my real life?" But I think what's going to happen is that is where you are going to find it
Hmm.
within the service. And so your key with that challenge is going to be as often as possible to finding your joy within it. That's how you will work with that challenge.
Hmm. I feel that.
Yeah. For the love card that came up, I am not one to usually predict relationships or anything like that, but what I can see is that you are going to feel very strong feelings of love. And that could come in so many ways because when you feel love, it really comes from within. It's really about what you're able to expand to accept, what you're able to expand to offer, and how that is felt. And so the gift for you is going to be how you feel it
Hmm.
in this next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is going to be, I think, an interesting um, occurrence for you. I think it's going to take you by surprise. But I just see you kind of steeped in this feeling all the while, lots of projects, lots of feeling like you're in service to others. And I don't know if that's the people that you do serve in the work that you do. It could be. It could also be people who come into your life. Um, but amidst all of that, if you keep this joy going,
Hmm.
that's how you're going to keep the faith all the way through it. There may be times when you have so much work. I just see work coming for you in a good way, but where it's so good, but you're so busy.
Hmm. Hmm.
And those are the times to just connect with the joy of it because I think the work that's coming for you is going to be joyful and
Hmm.
it's going to be aligned with you because you're aligning with you. And
Hmm.
when you accept work and offer things, they're going to be things that work for you really well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I already feel that. I feel all those things with like the videos that I'm doing in the interviews. There's so much joy and love and connecting with people and pulling out their gifts and what they do. And I think it is a service to share that with folks. But it is also, if anyone's kind of been behind the scenes of dealing with all these videos and interviews and schedules and everything, it is a level of like, whoa, there is a point where it's like, oh my gosh, there's 5 videos to edit and put up. And, I'd rather be painting. So
Yes,
I
I
love.
think that that's really what I'm seeing for you,
Hmm.
for sure.
Hmm.
Do
Wonderful.
you have any other questions or clarification needed? Because I can sometimes what I do is I pull another card to give answer to a question or to clarify.
Mm. Um, it's interesting because there's part of me that wants to just see how that plays out. But as far as, I guess the question I would have is, like starting all these videos and these interviews and things like that, you know, is it the artwork? Is it the interviews? Both give me joy and love and feel, the interviews definitely feel like more service, and things that I can share with people. But the art, it's always been like my best friend, the one I can turn to. It's like the automatic writing. It's like the automatic painting. So question would be, I hesitate to ask the question a little bit. I guess, which one, right? They're both part of a creation, but is it more focused on the art, or is it more focused on, the interviews and connecting with people?
So without pulling a card, I just saw this. It's going to be everything.
That's what
And
I,
so
yeah,
that's
that's,
what I saw. I just saw some interweaving, but I will pull a card just to clarify. Ah, so this is very interesting which card came up. So this is about fear.
mm,
And so these are your fears talking and worried that you're going to lose one if you take the other.
mm,
Because sometimes when you love more than one thing, you're afraid of losing that best friend, that thing that's always been by your side, which is your artwork. But what I'm getting here is that you you are going to experience both. They're going to be interwoven. And the fear that's coming up for you has to do with the need to control that.
mm,
And for you not to worry about that because you are in control of everything anyway. And sometimes when we have fears and we want to control how that looks, your key is going to be to flow through it with this. So at any given moment when you are thinking, should I paint now? Should I do another interview? Should I get some rest? Should I, whatever? Connect to the joy.
mm,
That's the advice. Connect to the joy. Which thing feels more joyful at the moment?
mhm,
And go with that. You're
mhm,
not going to lose what you didn't choose in that very moment. It's going to be there. And you'll
mhm.
choose again and choose again and choose again. So this is more an exercise in choosing joy over fear.
Yes. This is so in alignment with the conversations I've been having. I just had this conversation with my mom, and I did a video with a friend, Harmony, about this, where there's this, from the business aspect, there's always this pull, right? Choose one, be a master of one instead of a, wishy-washy of this, that, and the other thing. But the the mixed media of it, right? And I love this because this is so true. One is part of the other, right? The connection brings the joy, which brings the artwork, which brings the joy, which brings the desire to connect. And I love that. That feels in alignment with exactly what I am working to allow myself, which is to have all these different things and to be okay with it,
Yeah.
to basically unlearn all of the business jibber jabber, which I know it works for a lot of people, but for me it freezes me. Like the thought of having to just pick one thing is, and I do less. Whereas if I feel, oh, okay, I can make it all work and come together, then I feel free and the creativity just comes and comes and comes. So I love
Yeah.
it. I feel good about that.
Yeah. I see there's a saying in coaching, and it's not about the either or, it's about the both and.
Both and yes.
And for you, anytime you have choice this or this, it's both and maybe even more. So I know a lot of people this year, especially creatives, artists, authors, business people, especially entrepreneurs, there has been that message out there to focus on one thing, to specialize. But you know what? We are multifaceted people. And when you're a creative person, you have multiple ways that you create. And
Mhm.
so to cut off all those channels and just do one creates boredom.
Yeah.
And from boredom, the creativity doesn't flow. So for you, especially personally this time, I think if you were to take these two cards, and I know you have my deck, and to remember that when you feel the fear, that you might lose one if you take the other, realize that when you connect to the joy, it might look like for a whole week, all you're doing is one thing. But keep in mind that that's just what you're doing in that moment because you're in the flow.
Mhm.
And the other thing is still there, and you're still going to do this with it in the end. So the fabric of what you create is what's the masterpiece, not
Right.
any one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because that's my, like, this is my nature. I mean, this is truer than true. This is my nature, just this love of so many things and wanting to bring it in to put it all into this melting pot, right? Of, ooh, what can come out of it? And sometimes it's like, whoa, too many ingredients in that. And other times, like, oh, never thought about that. So I love that. I love, and that has been something I've been working on this year is just that self permission to do it the way that my instincts tell me instead of arguing with the way that these other successful people say it needs to be done,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
they figured it out or learned it from somebody else. And and I think the best thing that we can do for ourselves, and I think has come out a lot this year that people have been forced to face is, who are we, right? Who
Mhm.
am I? What is my nature? Where do I find my joy? And that brings a lot more success on the level of feeling
Mhm.
than even a certain level that some people would consider a success, where it's just, just this like trudging through it, like not being not being my true authentic self just to achieve something. Whereas, and I've always been this way, I'd rather just be whoever it is I am and see what level of success comes from that, instead of try to be something I'm not, because I'm not good at trying to be something I'm not. I fail at that every single time.
Yeah, and the sheer energy it takes, life force that it takes to do that, if you let go of that,
Yeah,
now you have all this energy and life force to put into what's really connecting for you.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like going down the river in a little boat. If you just let the river current take you, right, it's easy, rather than like trying to swim upstream and fight it. And that's, some people love that, right? The athletics, right? The very keen, sharp business folks, I think, maybe love that struggle of upstream. But I also know as a creative, so many of us, it's just like, I just kind of want to float and roll with it and see what comes up. And for me, that's where creativity just boom, 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 like little bubbles, ideas keep coming up. So that feels like I don't need permission, but it feels so in alignment with, I think, what the gifts of this last year has been, which is, who are we? And how can we be more of that, instead of fight against what it is we think we should be and have it be such a struggle?
Yeah. I think there's you said something earlier about unlearning, and I think there's a lot of unlearning that has been going on during 2020, and even more as we move into putting the pandemic behind us, going into a different space in the world. None of us is the same. We've all been changed. And how much unlearning have we already done? And how much more? How
Yeah.
much more? And how much, as we unlearn, how much more is allowed to come in?
Right.
And how much more creativity, innovation. People have been able to do their business in different ways.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. I've worked with a few folks with their kids who are dyslexic, and that is I mean, for some reason that just came up with, it's such a huge topic, right? Of what the education system has in place, but it doesn't take into consideration the brilliance of a child who just doesn't think in the way that the system was created, and having to share with parents and kids and people with dyslexia or any kind of learning disorders to unlearn the have do's, because there's so many more possibilities, right? We're not all meant to go to school, go to college, get the 9 to 5, etc. And it also, I mean, I think most entrepreneurs out there, something like 60 or 70% of entrepreneurs out there have some kind of quote unquote learning disorder, dyslexia,
Right.
ADD, things like that. And so it's about stepping into who we really are and our gifts, and allowing ourselves, right, to unlearn that which doesn't serve us.
Right.
Why continue trying to put yourself into a box you clearly don't fit in, just because some teacher, society, school, education, something along the way told you this is what's good and this is what's not good. And I think any artist or creative or entrepreneur or someone who's created their own anything, product, business, coaching, etc., it's about thinking a different way. And what I love about you and the way that you coach is seeing a person for who they are and nourishing that. And I think we need more of that in the world, is seeing the person for who they are, right? Maybe even more than they can see themselves at first, to bring out their true natural gifts. And then life is easier. It doesn't mean we don't work any less hard than anyone else, but it's hard to work hard at something you're not good at, to try to fit into some kind of box you don't belong in,
Right.
instead
Right.
of putting all of that beautiful energy into our true I don't want to say talents, but talents, right? That our true callings, our true, and that's a whole nother conversation that you
Yeah.
sparked.
Yeah.
So I know with time we will put a pin in it, but that's a whole opening up. We should open up that door of that conversation at some point. I love that.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ruth, tell folks how to get a hold of you.
Okay. Hi, you can reach me at ruthsandoval.com. And there's a website. I do one on one coaching. I also do wisdom card sessions, readings. You can order my cards. You can get my book on Amazon.com. That's a guidebook for these cards. Also, come to my Facebook page, Coaching Wisdom, on Wednesdays and Saturday mornings to learn how to use cards and to get a mini reading.
Wonderful.
Thank
And I'll
you.
put all of Ruth's information down below in the links. If you like this video, please like, please subscribe, give us some love. We all love some love. Thank you so much. I hope you got the gem in this that's here for you. I know that Ruth did this reading for me, but if you resonated with something, that was the gift in this for you. And so I hope that showed up for you today. All right. Many
Thank
blessings.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Okay.
Ruth. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.